Guys, what is a VPN? That's the existential question we're trying to solve just off the bat. Starting off the stream with some common logic. So we're talking about VPNs and what they do. I think everyone has seen a YouTube ad for a VPN before, and it's kind of like, oh, make sure you're accessing the internet securely, yada yada yada. That way internet service providers can't view your network traffic. Okay, cool. That is true. But let's talk about why that is. I mean, I'm using this VPN service, and all of a sudden my traffic is secure. Alright, I mean, it's a black box. It's just a handshake contract. Okay, I trust you. That sounds cool. Kali Linux, now is not the time. But we're not going to talk about the consumer side real quick. Let's just talk about how organizations and enterprises use VPNs to secure that traffic. So one common use case for using a VPN, you might know yourself if you work in any company, or if you go to school, really, is that, you know, we can come down here, we can have, let's just say, the org. This is the org. And you can say that this is your place of work, this is your school. And they have in here a bunch of, you know, computers that do things. Everything has computers. It could be an actual Windows machine, it could be a printer, it could be the network stack in the back closet, or there could probably be like some, you know, machines on the premise that connects to the internet. Anything that connects to the internet, most likely, you know, there is going to be, let's make our little cloud out here. Let's call the internet. The internet is chilling. It's coming into the org. And there's probably some sort of router that's chilling here that's going to take in, ingest all the internet traffic. And there might be like a switch or something, and then the switch is going to route all of our traffic to where it's got to go. Which is cool. That means our machines can go to google.com, they can go to YouTube. We need the internet to do tasks. We just do. And that's not a problem. However, let's say that we're doing, you know, top secret things. We're doing company secret things. We're working with data that we don't want people to potentially see. We're just doing stuff in secret. Well, if I work from home, if I'm out of the office, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I'm doing work that exists within my org, if I'm doing work that exists within my org, that I don't want the external public to see, that's fine. I have a network, I have an intranet that all my work can be done on. Things get a little tricky though with the whole work remote movement, and people are actually not in the office, but they still want to do corporate work, work within the organization. And so that's where the VPN comes into play. We're establishing a private connection, essentially. And how's that going to happen? Well, let's say we have our boy Bob, bro. Let's make the homie Bob out here. Bob's going to be chilling outside work, and he's in his house. Also, the jams. Hope you're enjoying the jams. I am. Got that 80s synth going on. And Bob has his computer. We'll make the computer blue as well. Alright. And he wants to do work from home and work with the org. Okay? Now, this is where the VPN comes into play. Essentially, when Bob got his work computer, when he got his, work computer, there was probably some programs that were installed on onboarding. You know, as a help desk person, you might have been that guy that, hey, we have a new employee, let's make him an account within our organization, install some things on his computer. Well, one of those things that gets downloaded on each organizational computer, most likely at the time of them getting onboarded, is a VPN secret key, essentially. A key that will establish a connection with a VPN. So let's make our VPN tunnel. So this guy, you know, he probably has OpenVPN or Cisco AnyConnect installed. We'll just go with Cisco AnyConnect. He has that installed, and he can input within, and I think I actually have, if I open up, so I have here, do I want to show that? No, I don't want to show that, my VPN information. We're just gonna minimize that and not show that on the stream. But so when you go to establish your VPN connection, usually what you're doing is you're giving Cisco AnyConnect an IP address or a host name to attach to forward traffic to. And that means that we're going to have a VPN gateway. This guy right here is a VPN gateway. VPN, bro. And he's sitting at the organization edge, essentially. And he is going to... Our machine is going to establish a connection with this VPN gateway. Now, how is that going to happen? Well, it's actually going to go over the internet, surprisingly. So VPN traffic goes over the internet, but in a secure way. You know, a lot of times when we're talking about networking and stuff, there can be like private routes talked about within the organization to where, you know, your traffic doesn't have to go over the internet. But with the VPN, your traffic is normally going over the internet. But what our VPN is going to do is make it secure. And what that actually entails is it's coming in the same way. You know, it's coming to the internet, it's going over the internet, and it's coming into the org. But what we're going to have here is something called IPsec, an IPsec tunnel. And this tunnel will use Bob's, you know, he has a secret on his computer that the organization knows to establish a connection. Now, the actual hashing algorithms and the algorithms that are used to secure your traffic, I'm not entirely sure. But we can look at the notes real quick. That was all just winged off my previous knowledge. But I did take some notes on this stuff. And so let's see here if we can find a good place to start. Yes, this is Obsidian, and yes, these are my notes. There's a lot of things going on here, but let's look up VPN. Let's see what comes up. Alright, here we go. Creating a VPN, virtual networks, VPN gateway. That's what we're going to be talking about. So, a VPN, a virtual private network provides a secure encrypted connection across other networks. Yep, and VPNs are typically deployed to connect two or more trusted private networks. Yada, yada, yada. What we're talking about is this point-to-site connection, which I think is here when we have multiple machines, and we can kind of see it here. Let's see if it's possible to zoom in on this image. Maybe I can just go to it. So, like we were talking about before, we have this point-to-site VPN tunnel that it's coming from our machines out here. We have our organization in blue that's hanging out, looking nice and cute. We have our VPN gateway at the edge of our organization. And we have our point-to-site VPN tunnels that are connected to, you know, Mac, Android, Windows. And yeah, very cool stuff, how this is traveling over the internet into the organization. And we can talk a little bit about the protocols that are used, you know, OpenVPN, Secure Socket Tunneling Protocol, and IKE. And that's kind of getting into the nitty-gritty details. But what I love about this, too, is that if we're using Azure VPN service, and there's probably other services that do it, too, but we can have such a thing called a Radis server And let me open up Firefox again. That's right, boys, we use Firefox here. Oh my god. We can use this thing called a Radis server, chillin', to essentially... Hold up here. Cool. Apologies. Got a text. We can use this Radis server here to actually log in to the VPN using our domain credentials. So if you log into your Windows machine with like a username and password, you can use that same username and password to authenticate over a VPN, which is nice for organizations to be able to do. Not if you're, you know, using like ExpressVPN or NordVPN and all those jazz, but if you're working for, you know, Google and you want to connect to Google's VPN, it'd be cool to log in with credentials using this Radis server. So, guys, welcome to the stream. This was just, you know, our first little thing that we're doing, talking about VPNs and all that jazz. I think we kind of covered it. That was the point-to-site VPN connection. There is the site-to-site VPN, which is more on the cloud side when we want to connect cloud environments together to on-prem networks. In a previous video, we were talking about virtual networks, and this is how we're going to connect our virtual network to our on-site, on-prem, if you're migrating to the cloud kind of thing. Again, using a virtual private network, a VPN, to secure our traffic as it's going across the internet. Because we're going, you know, from our organization, we're going on-site to potentially, you know... Oh god, is that... I'm going to be blocking that. Ugh, let me move it. We're going to be doing that, and we're going to be going, like, to Azure or AWS. Or it could be AWS. And this is also going to travel over the internet. And so we're going to use that VPN to get our traffic to and fro without it being, you know, plain text, without it being intercepted by people in the middle. And so we can kind of see this little chart here, which looks cool. We have an Azure virtual gateway that connects, or a VPN gateway here, that's connecting our on-prem to the cloud, and that traffic can get, you know, managed around once it hits the cloud. We'll have an IP space to, you know, route all of our traffic to. That's why a virtual network is down here at the bottom, and all that jazz. So, VPNs, just a fun little, you know, refresher on VPNs and why we use them.